Let me rephrase that. Me and my wife were having a conversation, and she was talking about something that she was really interested in. And now I've heard this before. I think.
Okay.
I want to say this is not the first time I've heard this.
Okay.
Okay. But when she said it again, I didn't hear it until like earlier this week. I kid you not. I kid you not.
Adaptable. I love those subtitles. 1 Peter 3:7. Likewise, husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way, showing honor to the woman as the weaker vessel, since they are heirs with you of the grace of life, so that your prayers may not be hindered. So we rehashed or repurposed the scripture. But it's applicable. Humble, student, adaptable. And we just kind of spoke to that. You don't care what you make, what you have. There's a certain way that you're supposed to approach your significant other, your wife. And being humble, being a student. She's not the same woman that you married yesterday. She's someone new today. Who is she? And it's your responsibility to figure out. You said something in pre-production, and you said it in the last session, is that you were a poor communicator in your previous marriage. But then as you understood where you needed to be in terms of communication, in the first date, you said, I don't read minds.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, remember, he didn't say he was a poor communicator. He said there was poor communication.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. But there's a difference.
But that's
there's
fair.
a difference.
That's fair because, again, my temperament as a person is very introverted. And so I did not necessarily know how to communicate in those first years of the marriage, in my first marriage. And as a result, it kind of just created this pattern of non-communication. Now, inevitably, I learned how to communicate in that first marriage. You know what I'm saying? In terms of trying to talk out problems, trying to talk out issues, trying to get the other person to understand what's happening here, and even trying to get them to communicate what they're feeling. But if communication is only coming from one side, then you can only go but so far. You can only limp but so far. So it's important that communication is a two-way street. That it's not a monologue, but it's a dialogue between both of us. You know what I'm saying? That we're actually having a discussion. I'm not just sitting here talking to the wall.
And so where I was going with that is the student part of it. Studying your mate, studying, leading, as we talked about before in terms of in communication. And sometimes our weaknesses, it's okay to be vulnerable and say what you don't do well, men.
Well, because hopefully she might do those things well.
Come on.
We hope you might find a couple of strengths of hers that can help to benefit the both of you.
And that comes from learning.
That comes from learning your wife,
and not just the surface things in which you picked your selection. Because a lot of times, what you pick in your selections, your tangibles, even through these scriptures, you really don't get to know the person unless you allow yourself to get to know the person. Right?
You know what else is another part of that, and that is really. And this is basic and it's simple, but I think sometimes we miss it because we're so distracted. It's paying attention to them. We don't spend a lot of time paying attention to each other. We go from here to there to everywhere. We're running errands. We're busy. We're doing that. But in terms of actually paying attention to them, and this goes back to the whole communication aspect of it, is the fact that in the midst of you saying what you're saying, am I really listening to you?
Am I really listening?
Am I really listening and understanding what you're saying to me? It's funny. Okay, I'm going to say this. Okay, so.
Come on out here with the dog.
Come on out here. So I just recently discovered, well, not recently discovered, let me rephrase that. Me and my wife were having a conversation, and she was talking about something that she was really interested in. And now I've heard this before, I think. I want to say this is not the first time I've heard this. Okay. But when she said it again, I didn't hear it until like earlier this week. I kid you not. I kid you not. I kid you not. I didn't hear it again. And when I heard it again, I was like, oh, okay.
Right.
This is what I need to do.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Sometimes we file things away very quickly. Oh, you talking about that again?
Right.
And we put it in that, I already heard that bucket.
Based on your preferences, based on your likes, based on your dislikes or whatever like that. I heard it again and I was like, okay, you know what? I need to make a move on this.
And sometimes, in that protective sense of a man, we try to listen to see, okay, should I be responding? Should I be saying something? Is she looking for me to actually have input, or is this just a listening moment?
Right.
And sometimes you get extremely confused. Right. And she's like, did you hear what I said? And I'm like, you said this, and it, but that's not. I asked you a question, and you totally.
Oh,
there was a question.
I thought I was listening the wrong way.
Right. But that's real, though.
I was just listening to listen. I wasn't listening to respond.
Right.
So we got a question. That's good, though. We put a pin in that.
So, as a rule, do you think men are good communicators? It appears the communication is in the doing and not the talking, and women are supposed to figure it out. Agree or disagree?
So I don't like the way the question began. It said as a rule. And the reason it says as a rule is because what it's attempting to do is to put us the question is attempting to categorize and to treat us as a monolith.
Right.
And so as a rule, do I think men are a good communicator? Generally speaking, as a rule, I don't answer questions that begin as a rule. Okay, because we're not making generalized statements like that for all men. We're not a monolith. Right. Some men are great communicators. Right. Some men are not. Some men don't start so well and get a whole lot better at it. Some are much better than others, and we're both older than he is, and he's a better communicator than both of us. Right. And so. made him feel good there. See, that's that old wisdom.
At home, the wife would be like, no.
But so I don't think that there's a real answer to the question as it relates to, generally speaking, all men, because we all communicate differently as well. You know, I know a man who, when he was upset or had issues with his wife, he would write her a letter. And he would put it all in the letter to let her know exactly how he felt. And then you've got, people like me, when, like, there have been times when me and my wife were arguing, having a disagreement about something, and the kids didn't even know we were arguing because I was still laying my head in her lap.
Right.
Well, y'all don't ever fight. We actually fighting right now. We actually fighting right this minute. Right. While I got my head in her lap and she's rubbing my head for me. Right. So it just depends on the man. Now, I will say this to the woman though: if your man is not communicating in the way that you think he ought to, tell him that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And keep repeating whatever it is you think he's trying to communicate until you understand it, or until he explains it in a way that you can.
Yeah.
And may I just tag on to that? Having that conversation doesn't mean you start the conversation by telling him what he doesn't do.
That don't work.
Yeah, that's never going to
right?
work.
You don't never hear me, you never listen to me, blah, 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 and because then he won't listen again.
Right.
And if he doesn't feel safe to communicate, he's thinking you don't listen to me anyway.
Right. Yeah.
So what's the point?
So what's the point?
Go ahead.
Sure, again.
Hey guys, it's Pastor John here. Please, if you like this video that you just saw, hit that like button for us. Second thing I want to ask you to do is to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We're putting out videos once a day at about 5:30 p.m. Hit that bell notification so that you'll know when a new video has been uploaded. And then the final thing to do, share this video, share this information. If you know somebody that has a need that it can be benefited by it, please put it out in circulation so that we can try to help as many people as possible. Thanks, and God bless.